Welcome to Between State Lines.
All right. So this past week, I thought about how much I really, 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 really wanted a Dybbuk box for my birthday. I had looked it up and I was super pumped. And as we discussed, you know what a Dybbuk box is, but for our audience, it's basically like a small, just like a wine cabinet kind of looking thing, like a little tiny box. And it's supposed to hold a spirit called a Dybbuk, and this is according to Jewish Hebrew culture. And if the box is opened, the spirit inside will come out and essentially haunt you. From what I've read, it can do anything from like giving you nightmares to medical ailments like strokes to just giving you like really bad luck. Um, and in the legend I was reading up on, apparently even possessing or touching the box or touching someone who has touched the box at some point can bring on a haunting or the bad luck, which is
I hate
crazy.
that. I hate that. You touching somebody who's touched the box?
That seems unfair. Like, what if like I touch someone, like I give someone a handshake in an interview, and then like they happen to touch a box that I didn't know they touched. Now I'm screwed.
Yeah, well, I think that I feel that way, definitely. I think you still would probably be happy owning this thing, especially if there's some cash incentive involved. You'd be totally fine with it.
I would do this for free. I this is what I want for my birthday. It's like it's coming up in 2 months, so I'm like on the lookout for the most haunted object. So if our audience wants to send me something, I will get a PO box and I will post it, and you can send me some really haunted crap, and I'll hang it up in the house for as long as I'm allowed to. But
Perfect. Okay, I'll start saving now. I have 2 months. I'll find some
um,
stuff for sure.
yeah, the story that really got my deep dive was about a guy named Kevin, who bought this a Dybbuk box at an estate sale or an estate sale rather, in the early 2000s. And the box was said to have originated in Germany during the Holocaust. And the guy who possessed it and died was a Holocaust survivor. And the family of the guy who owned it were really hesitant to sell it to the guy. And honestly, I don't get that part. 'Cause, like, why would you have it at a estate sale if you're not going to like sell it? So I don't get that part. But
Maybe they really needed to recoup some money, and it wasn't their choice to have a estate sale. I don't know.
or or the Dybbuk moved it into the yard sale.
Yeah, or they just didn't know what it was, and then they were like, "Ooh, I touched this. Now I've had bad luck."
Um, but somehow, against all odds, he was able to buy the box. And instantly upon getting it home, I mean, first of all, he knew what it was. He knew it was a Dybbuk box, so he knew what he was getting into when he bought it. And of course, the first thing he did was pull a Holden, and he opened it right away, immediately upon getting home, or I guess to his antique store. Um, and he found a bunch of random stuff inside, like a wooden wine goblet, a few pennies from the 1920s, which that's really random, and just like I think some hair with like twine, the really random crap. Um, and of
How does it feel good
course,
though?
if I found hair in the box, I mean, I probably would throw the hair away, like I did with that tombstone. But like,
With the dog?
it would go live with Buddy, our faithful friend.
Was it Buddy or was it Bailey?
I still don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Buddy. Buddy sounds like a dog's name that a kid would give a dog.
I don't know why. Had I rest in peace, Bailey.
um, and of course, so Kevin is a genius, opens it up, and then he decides it's a good idea to give this to his mother, his elderly mother, so like a lady in her 70s, like an a hole. So upon getting it, and I think she just touched it, she instantly had a stroke. And so he decided to take it back, of course, like, oh, shoot, I gave my mom a stroke. Oh, no, I'm going to take it back and leave it in my store. So he left it in the store. She went to the hospital. She eventually recovered, but it was like, the long process of a stroke recovery. Um, but he left it in his antique store, And according to him, he would hear strange noises around the store. Glasses would break, light bulbs would shatter randomly. And one time his employee got locked in the basement where all hell broke loose. Like they got locked down there and chairs were thrown around, bookshelves knocked over, bunch of stuff broken, and they like quit that same day. They're like, F this, I'm out of here.
Yeah, not worth it. Like, what is he paying? Minimum wage? Rude.
I mean, Kevin seems like a jerk, so he's probably paying like less than minimum wage, like
Oh,
volunteer hours.
yeah. You are my. Good luck in that.
um, so at some point, he started having nightmares about an old lady. So finally, it came for him about an old lady attacking him and tearing at his face. Specifically, he referred to her as an old hag. So in my mind, it's like the witch in Snow White. It's like coming for him and like scratching his face in his nightmares. And it's actually like culminated in him and his son seeing this lady in reality in their house, like walking around their house. And so he said, F this, I'm going to sell it. And so he put it up for sale. And some poor chump, some poor sucker eventually bought it. But lo and behold, a few weeks later, he came to work and it was sitting at his front door and they didn't want it. They just left it there.
Yeah, they're like, screw that. That money's even bad now. Hopefully, I got rid of whatever with getting rid of the box. Hopefully, they did. It sounds like it has enough bad juju to go around.
To me, it sounds like they're just like cowards. Like, you bought it, you gotta keep it, Steph. You gotta own it.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't buy it in the first place. So, but I mean, mark these words. You know, your birthday's coming up in 2 months. I'm doing all of the saving for whatever haunted stuff I could find. Everybody else better, you know, start looking into this too. He's gonna get his PO box. We're all gonna send everything we got at him, and then mark these words.
I will accept
Don't
it
be a
all.
coward.
So fast forward a little bit, and he still can't sell it at his store. Nobody wants it. So he puts it on eBay, of all places. And I'll give him credit here. He at least like specifically mentioned in the eBay ad, "Hey, this is haunted. This is what happened when I bought it, and like all the bad things that happened to him." So at least he told the person that what they were getting into. It wasn't a surprise to them. I'll give him credit for that. He's still an a-hole, but I'll give him credit for that. So the next person bought it for like I think like $300. So he made a good chunk of money off it at least. And of course they got it, open it. Yeah, you did sell it twice. Yeah, I'm assuming he sold it for at least $100 at a store, and then probably like $300. So good $500 at least. And so the next owner reported the same thing that happened. They had nightmares, same thing, old hag lady coming for them, strange noises in their house, nightmares, all that crap. And so they decided to bring in a rabbi to bless or cleanse the box. Did that, and they buried it out in the woods somewhere. And that is where it sat for a very long time. No one knew where it was, except for this one guy, and they just hid it away from the world so it could do no wrong. Fast forward, I think it was like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, a guy named Zach Baggins, who runs the Haunted Museum in Vegas, he came across the story online, reached out to Kevin, and then Kevin forwarded him to the guy who bought it, and he went out and actually bought it from this poor chump. But that poor chump sold it to him for an undisclosed amount of money. And Zach Baggins is known to like brag about how much he paid for things. So the fact that like he won't disclose how much he paid for it leads me to believe it's probably at least $1 million for this box, which is wild.
Yeah, that is wild. I mean, was that box haunting that guy who sold it, or did the blessing work?
Apparently it worked. After it got blessed and he buried it, it was like nothing happened after that. And I feel like it's more to do with the fact that he got rid of it than like it got blessed.
Yeah. I wonder, okay, so any update? Like, did he pay way too much money for just a box?
So, and hold on. So the funny thing is, like, Kevin was the real sucker here because, like, he bought the box, made $500 off it at least, maybe a little bit more, and then missed out on $1 million sale. So, like, the guy who bought it, I don't remember the guy's name, but the guy who bought it after Kevin made an absolute killing on this thing, like the biggest payday of his life. Um, so Zach put it on display in his museum, which is still on display now, and it's encased in glass all around with like Hebrew writing on it to kind of like keep the spirit at bay. And apparently they had to encase it in glass because people would still like open it up and like touch it and like I guess to avoid it being damaged or to avoid the haunting reaching out to other people's houses. They, because ghosts obviously, if they're stuck in glass, they can't go anywhere. That's the rule, I guess. um, so at one point, Zach decided to bring back Kevin to come and do a live stream interacting with the box for the first time in like 20 years. So he did the live stream, and at one point after touching it, Kevin went into like a trance and started reciting some random weird passage that no one's ever heard before, and he was doing it in a British accent. So like people were like, what the hell? So the legend kind of grew so large after this that host Malone came to see the box, and apparently Posty touched Zach Bagans' shoulder when Zach was touching the box. And then it's now believed that Posty is like a little bit cursed. Like afterwards, his plane had to make a emergency landing, and like 2 months later, he got into a car accident. But like kind of got like the bad luck kind of side of it. But here is the real kicker, the funniest part of this whole story. Kevin, I think like 2 years ago, admitted to making the entire thing up. It's all fake. He never had any ghost experiences of the box, never saw a hag, none of it was real. And the trance and first of all, Zach didn't know this is fake, apparently. So Zach brought him on thinking it was real. And that trance he had on live stream was all fake. And the weird passage that he recited in a British accent was a poem he wrote that he was trying to get traction for on social media. So he did his whole thing to like pump up sales for his store and get his like his popularity boosted, and like people like come look at his store and buy stuff from him, and boost his social media presence. And the other funny thing is that in Hebrew culture, there is no instance of a Dybbuk haunting a box or ever being captured inside one. So there's no like precedence for it, but Zach Baggins still has the box on display and it thinks it's real. And the final real kicker is that after Kevin admitted to making all this stuff up, his mom died like almost right afterwards, and he had like a few bad things happen to him. So like it may have been fake, but did he piss off something in the spirit world for doing this whole concoction, or just a coincidence?
Wow. Kevin.
Kevin.
I didn't know if he's the biggest sucker or a genius or just a real D-bag. Like, Kevin. I mean, I feel like that's karma, right? I mean, rest in peace to his mother. She did not deserve any of that. If anything, sorry, Kevin, you kind of deserve it. But she was older, so that makes me feel a little bit more at ease with that. The real biggest loser here would be Zach, because he paid. I would never disclose how much money I don't care if I paid $25 for that box. That one guy, hopefully, when they had somebody bless it and everything, that didn't cost him anything. He's the biggest winner here.
Yeah, he made millions off it, and I don't know if he was in on it or if like his experience was like kind of just psychosomatic, like he read the story and then like kind of just had that in his head that he was more predisposition to like have those experiences just by like thinking that the box is haunted and like and that, or if he actually knew it was fake and he was in on it. I don't recall ever seeing that he was in on it though.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so. I mean, the less people you tell, and it wouldn't be that hard if you're selling something random off eBay. But wow, that's a lot to take in. That's a lot of bad karma, if anything else. Like, and also, sorry, Post Malone. Like, what happened there?
I just think
Like,
I don't know. I was reading the story and I heard the part. I saw the video of him like doing the British accent and like reading his little poem, and like when I read that it was all fake, I just started laughing so hard because it was like this guy, this guy like really went into the whole bit and like put on a British accent on like a live stream in front of like I think thousands or close to a million people. I'm sure watching it because Zach Baggins is pretty big. But like all fake, all for the
all
clout.
in the name of trying to push this poem that he wrote. Because, man, a poet at heart, but owns an antique shop. Did not expect him to be an actor, but full of surprises. Wow.
I know. So, oh, that is great. But to our listeners, if you still have a Dybbuk box that you claim is haunted, I'll take it and I'll tell you if I get haunted
Well, it's good to know. We'll
because
probably make it up too. But if you want that bad, all that, I feel like that probably lowers your vibration. That's probably why all this bad stuff was happening.
I really just like boost our podcast by start going into a trance every episode, like, oi, governor,
Yeah, luckily
I
you're
see an old lady.
great at accents.
Like my Australian accent, my British accent, and weirdly my like country accent. My country accent starts as a country accent and then it blends into a British Australian.
Yeah, I have that Pacific Northwest, not much of an accent, but then every once in a while the Valley Girl from Southern California in the 90s comes out. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But I have no other accents. I can't help you there.
um
Plus, I'm a terrible actor, so. But you got this.
uh
I'll send you a
that's
really
just
nice
great.
box.
Yes, I need a box. I need a haunted painting. I am going thrifting tomorrow, so I'm gonna be on the lookout for like anything old and creepy. Specifically an urn. Specifically an urn that has nobody's ashes in it. Like it's gotta be an empty urn. Not like I don't want grandma's ashes from some random
Okay,
lady
good
about to
to
throw
know.
them out in the trash.
I have my grandparents up on a shelf here, and my uncle likes to throw things away, and he's constantly like, I put stuff on my buy nothing group, and he's like, "Who wants grandma and grandpa?" No, that's terrible. But they're not even in an urn; they're still in the box, like the cardboard box from the and in the bag from the place that they were cremated at. So, not even helpful there.
Do you know there's a I read this story, this guy on TikTok. I'll have to find his account and send it to you. But he was, I guess he really hated his mom, like a lot of people do. And when she died, he got her ashes and he decided to sell them online, like little by little, like sell them to different people. So like part of her went to like this one person. I think he charged like $100 for it, which is, I mean, hey, if you hate your mom, you can, I mean, hey,
That's
that's not
weird.
a
There's a
bad
market for that.
that it's very weird. Like people are weird as hell. But like I don't know. Like I've seen things that people sell. Or not. I haven't seen it personally. But like I've heard stories like people selling like legs from funeral homes. Like the funeral homes will have this person who's like a rogue caretaker who like cuts off limbs and like sells them to people, and it's just like weird shit and like it's
I
just disgusting.
Yeah, I guess the weirdest stuff that I've heard of people selling are like bad taxidermy.
Bailey.
I
You can't taxidermy now. He's already bones. So, like, damn it.
There is a really cool thrift store up in the Washington State area, which doesn't surprise me at all. It's somewhere near that town that's has the amazing Christmas. Less than an hour from there, and it's this giant thrift store that they have all sorts of cool things. I think I reposted it on TikTok at one point. But they had so much bad taxidermy, and one of my coworkers is really into that, and so I was like, we gotta go. We gotta go check out this giant thrift store. I bet they probably have at least some haunted stuff. For sure.
So you went to Washington? I thought you hate Washington.
Well, I lived in Washington only like
Oh, yeah.
3 or 4 months ago, but I didn't live anywhere close to this place. And I haven't gone yet. I want to go. I'll stop by there if I ever go to the Christmas town. Whatever that place is called.
Wait, what? Yeah, what is that I haven't heard of the Christmas town. I know there's one on the East Coast, but Christmas. I'm really curious now. Christmas town, Washington. Ooh, Leavenworth, Washington.
I think it's Leavenworth. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll trust your pronunciation. You've lived out here longer than I have.
Yeah, I just called it the Christmas town, so
I mean, I'm the guy that says estate sale instead of estate sale. So, like,
I frequently do not speak English either. I don't speak any other languages, but I'm here for it.
Okay, so my brain, of course, I don't know how I got in this rabbit hole, but it bounced from this whole Dybbuk box to the dark web, which kind of is a segue from people selling body parts. So, to our viewers, and I guess people who have never heard of the dark web, which I don't know how you haven't at this point in your life, or anyone hasn't, but it's like a sub internet beneath the internet is what I would describe it as. That you have to use a special browser. I think it's called a Tor browser, and like a VPN to access. And I don't even know if, like, I know the Silk Road was a dark web thing that got shut down like 10 years ago. So I think that one's gone, but there are a few others out there that you can access. And on this dark web, you can do things like buy legs and hands and body parts. You can hire contract killers. You can access all sorts of content, like watch snuff films, like all that crap on the dark web. But it's highly advisable if you ever do go on the dark web to obviously use a VPN, because you can be easily tracked by like hackers. And people who are on the dark web obviously are on there for a reason. So it's pretty shady, and you don't want to get involved with those shady mofos.
I mean, I'm curious, but not curious enough, obviously.
I went on the dark web once, I think like 15 years ago. I was trying to buy weed, because you can buy drugs on there too, and they'll mail it to your house, which I didn't do it because I was really dumb. I just gave some random person my address on the dark web, but
Uh,
I was
yeah,
curious.
just buy it from a cook at your nearest restaurant.
Well, I didn't have connections. Somehow I had a connection to get on the dark web. And that weirdly, I did it at work. Like, I was on my work computer, and I was like VPN, like, and I did like a part-time job at a gym. So I was like, all right, here we go. VPN, Tor browser, and then got on to the website to buy drugs and like everything you think of, heroin, cocaine, all that stuff. And I was like, all right, let's do weed. And then it was like, I don't know, $15 for a gram.
Buy it for way cheaper now because it's legal and everything.
Yeah, you can buy it way and less sketchy, unless you go to Oregon, where, no offense, like your side of Oregon, I'm sure is fine, but like the eastern side of Oregon is really sketchy. Like the dispensaries have had like gang fights out there, and people like robbing people. Like someone got shot up 2 years ago at one of the dispensaries, and yeah, so I was like, okay, well, I guess that's dope.
Yeah, that's Wild. The kid I used to babysit, one of my best friend's nephew. I guess now he's over 21 because he like manages the closest dispensary near me. So I'll go over there if I need something. Like I've bought like the CBD lotions that are pretty high powered, and yeah, it's like going to a regular store. It's so easy and it feels fairly safe, and they're everywhere really. But I have a preference because I'm just going to see the kid I used to babysit for 10 hours and he'd sit still on the couch for Reese's peanut butter cup. Best kid ever.
My daughter, a side note here, sidetrack. She so love her to death, but she's gotten to the point where she is a little bit sassy, a sassy toddler. So like we're trying to work with her on petting the cats gently and like soft. Because like obviously if you grab a cat, like she got scratched by one of the cats because she grabbed their tail and their instinct was to whack her in the face, and she won't do that again. But so we're looking on her. I'm like gentle, gentle, and she goes, doo doo, and then runs away.
Yeah, I have a sassy 3-year old and that kid doesn't listen to anything. Not anything. It is awful. Like I'll tell her anything and she'll just sit there, what do you have? And she's like, nothing. This morning I could see her taking little rocks and crystals in my room, and I was like, you're not supposed to be in here. It just started raining, but we're hanging out for it. But I was like, I can see that you're taking my things, like give it back. And she was putting them down her pant legs. And so I was like, nope, put them back. And she did, but then I frisked her and I found a quarter. It was like, kid, come on. Nothing. I don't
my
take it
god!
from her, but I don't know how to manage her. I just got to make it through 3. I'm pretty
sure. Right? They will literally grab anything. Like, yeah, no, like she grabs stuff like that, and then she won't give it up. If she somehow you get it from her hands, oh man, God forbid, that whole tantrum is like you murdered her best friend. Like, come on. But yeah, so that was, I don't know how I got in that thought, but yeah, my daughter is crazy, love her to death, but she is a wild stallion.
yeah. There's cannot be contained.
Cannot be contained. So I did find a story on Reddit about the dark web, and there are tons of stories, and most of the stories were like, oh, I came across like a snuff film, or I'm like, I'm not going to talk about those stories. Like no, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want a story about someone like being like followed, like someone coming for the person in real life from the dark web. And I found one. The story goes, it happened last year. And this is also 6 years ago.
Okay.
I was damn curious what the actual deal about this whole dark web, deep web stuff was. So I went to YouTube for watching tutorials, and I found one on how to access a dark web using your Android phone, and planned on surfing the web using my phone. I didn't know that was the actual thing, but apparently you can. So everything was set, had a VPN set up, covered my phone with tape, I guess so the audio didn't come through, and went to my room and locked it. Opened the Wikipedia site for dark web links. Everything was cool when I went to those normal happy chat sites. I didn't actually type anything in, I just observed and watched. And by doing this, I kind of gained some confidence and opened this creepy anonymous confession site. I swear to God, my faith over humanity vanished away after reading some of the confessions on there. Some people commented how they killed their wife, mom, daughter, and neighbor. Someone commented how they tried to kill someone and failed, and how they regret failing. Some commented how they love when they see people suffer, and other graphic things are written over and over and over, which I honestly don't want to write here, as I'll definitely get blocked after writing them. And then from there, I got onto a thread of some more mentally ill, creepy people who were commenting how stupid people were for loving someone and for not doing bad things to them. At this point, I had enough of all this, but I still wasn't done. I wanted to see how much I could get through. Honestly, at this point, I'd be like, okay, once I got to the point of reading about someone like killing their mom or their wife, okay, I'm just like, I'm bouncing out. I'm out of there. No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like some dark stuff, but it's more of like, I had a near-death experience, and they write about like what that was like, or people in their astral projecting. Though that kind of scares me, but it's pretty cool at the same time. That feels pretty dark. I don't think I can feel those.
No, like I'd like to read like not for like enjoyment, but like read about like true crime, but like actually hearing the killer side, I'm like, oh, I love doing this. No, thank you, I'm good. Nope, not at all.
No, I've already lost faith in humanity and having existential crises over it. No, not feel to handle that.
Okay, so it goes on to say that they went to a different thread about people wanting to hire contract killers, which took a while to load. And while it was loading, they thought this whole thing was fake, and maybe that site was also fake. But then, boom, there it came, loaded up, and all these like posts about needing to kill someone and needing to hire a hitman were showing up, and how much they were offering and whatnot. And people were on there commenting how much they would pay or get paid for that, how much they would do, and what things they wouldn't do. I guess hitmen have limits and like have hard stops. But oh well. From there, I went on to a different site, which I can't really describe what it is, but it had the most disgusting things I could ever describe in my entire life. People's dead bodies, organs being spilled out on the floor of a basement, just really graphic stuff. I closed that site and went to the sites selling guns, drugs, and other illegal things. And that was pretty boring for me, so I decided to step away and close everything down and get off of the deep web. However, I wasn't able to sleep for 2 days straight. Everything felt horrible and ugly, and I felt terrible inside, as I would too. But after 4 to 5 days, things went normal. And except for one day, I was using WhatsApp, texting my friends, and got this notification that someone texted me from an unknown number. And specifically, it was an international number. I opened the text, not thinking much, and saw this creepy text that said, "Why are you ignoring me?" I got a little tense as I don't have any friends from abroad and thought maybe it was a scam. I ignored it, and the next day I got another text from the same number saying, "You can't ignore me. I'm still here. You can't run away." I was now damn sure that someone had found me and things had gotten out of hand, and I almost believed I was going to die. I quickly blocked the number and told my close friends what happened at the dark web, and one of my friends told me same thing happened to them last year when he surfed the dark web, and that he blocked the numbers but soon started getting creepy, deadly calls from people threatening to murder him. So he changed his number, and life was good again. So now here I was, a messed up teenager. I was out of breath, I'm guessing from a panic attack, and I was afraid to tell my mom and dad about the whole thing. And so I tried to control it myself. The next day, I got another text on WhatsApp from another unknown number, international number, saying, "Why did you block me? You can't do anything now." Now it was extremely clear that someone was trying to hack my number and was fucking with me. I quickly blocked that number and reported it, deleted WhatsApp, and deactivated all of my social media accounts. After a week, I came back and everything was pretty chill. But the next week, I got another text from another unknown number on WhatsApp and quickly blocked it and reported it as spam. After that, everything ceased to happen, and I got no more text, no more WhatsApp messages, and everything chilled out from there. But I will never, ever, ever go back to the dark web.
That's so scary. That's so scary. Like, I know people who,
Yeah.
like, you know, those people that will send you messages, and then people will like talk to them and mess with them because they know that eventually they're going to try to sell them crypto or whatever it is. It usually involves them trying to get you on WhatsApp. Nah, I don't know what they're trying to pull on WhatsApp. I don't know it well enough, but I'm never switching apps to talk to somebody. It's not happening. But that is so scary. Just you never know what somebody's intentions are. Like, and I'm sure I've had experiences where I felt like somebody followed me. I went out to a bar with my best friend, and we didn't interact with anybody there, but we went to a different bar, and she was talking to this guy who clearly hated women, and she loves to engage with that. I don't know why. But so she's getting kind of heated, and we had met this other guy who's super nice. Really, really nice guy. Like, he went to the local community college. He was talking about how he had volleyball the next day, and he was like, if you want to come, like, this is where we're going to do this at this time. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And I actually exchanged numbers with him. Later on that night, he both tried to get me added on Instagram, Facebook, sent me a video of me at the first bar that we were at, and I shut it down. Blocked him everywhere. And like, I'm sorry if for some reason he comes across this podcast. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but that's scary. But yeah, I blocked him everywhere.
Holy, oh my God. And like, that's the crazy thing is, like, that is proof itself that like male privilege exists, because I have never had to worry about someone blowing me up like that, and or even recording me at a bar and then sending me the video like that. Oh, I just
yeah, that, like, honestly, that was the first weird thing that I was like, okay, he sent me a video of me, but then he like added me on Instagram, and he added me on Facebook and sent me a message that was like, your kids are cute, and I was like, nope, 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 not. That's enough for me. No, thank you. Like, even if you were not, if this was like not bad intentions, that is a million red flags for me. I will stay home for the rest of my life, and I will also never go to those bars.
What do these people, these men, think is going to happen? Like, you message them, messages you, and send you a video of yourself. Like, what is his end goal? Like, how does he expect you to respond? Or like, oh, your kids look cute. Like, how, like, you don't know him that way, besides like meeting him one time. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, that sounds so bad.
How many serial killers were labeled as charming? And he was a very nice person in person. But yeah, all those things, I'm like, stranger danger, stranger danger. No, thank you. No, I have no idea what the true intention there, but I was not finding out. No, you mentioned my children, absolutely not.
No, that gets
no.
That gets shut down. Like, and honestly, like, so I've had this discussion with my wife before. Like, if she ever died, or we broke up for whatever reason, I don't know how I would like date someone, because of just reading all these horror stories online. And like, granted, I know all this stuff happened in the 90s still. I'm sure it hasn't like might have gotten worse now, but like, it happened before. But like, now you have more access like online to reading the stories, reading accounts like yours, or some creepy guys hitting you up. And like, I just don't know if I could ever trust someone to be around my daughter. Like, myself is one thing. Like, my daughter's like, I don't know if I could trust anyone to be around her. I don't trust anyone in the entire world right now. So like, so,
yeah,
no,
I feel exactly the same way. Like, I live with my family, single parent, but absolutely no. Like, I can't. Like, it just feels like introducing them to somebody is already too scary. And I think that that's one of the hard things about like being single in this world is, first of all, you don't meet anybody new. Like, I just don't feel like it. But also you just don't know. You don't know people. But even the people that I've known for a really long time, like I don't trust you with my kids. And yeah, finding like the right childcare has been hard enough. Like I have the nope. I don't feel comfortable with that, and I don't know how people invite somebody into their home. It's just no.
No, nope, not at all. I just, yeah, I just reading all the stories about people's like stepmothers, like kids' stepmothers or stepfathers, like murdering their entire family. Like, holy shit. Okay, all
Yeah,
right. Well, that seals it. I'm
especially people.
dying single.
Yeah, like it's like you can lie about who you are for a certain amount of months, and then like the truth can come out. Or like honestly, I was with their dad for like 15 years, and things changed towards the end. It's like your relationship can always change, and I just feel like in their lifetime, I need my one and only job is to protect them, and people are scary. People are scary.
I'd argue people are scarier than ghosts. I'd welcome
I
ghosts to my
mean,
house for a random stranger.
yeah, especially after reading about this dark web thing and thinking back on that, because like I think that I kind of blocked it out. But that is exactly why I don't really like to go out and meet people. And yeah, no, people are scarier than ghosts, because at least you could tell the ghost to stop and leave you alone. You never know if people have left you alone, especially with like the internet and ugh.
Yeah. But okay, so that's the dark web. And I felt like going from here, we both love AI. We both are professed our fascination at least over its things it can do, um, and things it can't do. And so I decided to go on Chat GPT, and I decided in honor of spooky season. This is in our household. I start spooky season 9/1. Like we go from summer to spooky season, and then to Christmas, or I guess Thanksgiving. I had Chat GPT write us two stories that software itself said would terrify us. I have not read these stories yet, besides like making sure there's no weird stuff in there. Um, and so it's really just first time reading this. This one is called The Last Message. Late one evening, Emma sat at her desk, the soft hum of her computer the only sound in her small apartment. She was a software developer working on a new project that kept her late hours for weeks. The work was tedious but necessary. Tonight, she was just finishing a final line of code when a new email notification popped up. Curious, she clicked on it. The email was from an unknown address, and the subject line read, Final Message. She hesitated for a second before opening it, but the curiosity got the better of her. Email was short and contained only one line of text. I'm watching. Emma laughed nervously, attributing it to a prank or spam. She closed the email and went back to work. The apartment was quiet, kind of quiet that felt almost too still. She glanced at the clock. It was nearly midnight. Her eyes were tired, and so she decided to call it a night. As she prepared for bed, she noticed a strange feeling, like someone was watching over her. She brushed it off and turned off the lights, retreating to her bedroom. She climbed into bed, the darkness enveloping her as she tried to fall asleep. I'm also going to read it as ChatGPT writes. I'm not going to substitute any words, like correct their grammar. So if they say a weird thing, I'll just like leave it in there. Um, just as she was drifting off, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Startled, she reached for it and saw another email notification from the same unknown address. The subject line now read, Look behind you. Her heart raced. Emma slowly turned her head, scanning the dark room. Which, okay, if you're in bed, like you're not, the wall's right there. Okay. All right, AI, you're making your first mistake. She slowly turned her head, scanned the dark room. The shadows danced ominously against the walls. Everything appeared normal. Shaking her head, she dismissed it as a prank or a bad joke. She tried to calm herself and returned to bed. The room seemed colder now, the chill seeping into her bones. A few minutes later, her phone buzzed again. Another email. I'm closer now. Fear gripped her. She got out of bed and checked her apartment. Everything was locked and in place. Nothing seemed out of order. Emma's hands trembled as she returned to bed. She tried to focus on calming thoughts, but sleep would not come. Instead, she lay there, wide awake, listening to every creak and groan of her apartment. Then, the unmistakable sound of her phone buzzing again. The subject line read, "Look outside." Emma's mind raced. She hesitated, but eventually mustered the courage to look out of her window. Her apartment was on the second floor, and she stared into the darkened street below. There was nothing unusual, just empty streets and the distant glow of streetlights. Just as she was about to pull away from the window, a shadow moved past the streetlight. Emma squinted, her heart pounding. The shadow seemed to move closer, right beneath her window. She gasped and stepped back, her breath coming in short, sharp bursts. Her phone buzzed once more. She couldn't bring herself to check it immediately. Instead, she listened. The silence was oppressive. Then, a soft, scraping sound against her window. She slowly turned to face the window. Hey, you're already facing the window, Emma. What's happening? She slowly turned to face the window. Through the thin curtains, she could barely make out a dark figure standing outside. It was staring directly at her, and she could feel its gaze, heavy and penetrating. Emma's phone buzzed again, except more urgently this time. She picked it up, her fingers shaking. The message was clear and simple. I'm inside. Panicked, she spun around to check her apartment. Front door was locked, and everything seemed in place. But the sensation of being watched grew stronger. In the darkness, a noise echoed. A faint, almost imperceptible scratching sound came from behind her. Emma slowly turned around, her eyes adjusting to the dark room. The room was empty, but the scratching continued, now louder and now closer. With trembling hands, she turned on the light. The scratching stopped. She looked around, but there was no one there. Just then, she noticed something on the floor, a small, dark spot that hadn't been there before. Emma's heart sank as she realized the spot was a message written in the dust. It read, "Too late." Suddenly, the lights flickered and the room went dark. Emma felt a cold breath on the back of her neck. She spun around, but the room was still empty. The air was thick with a malevolent presence. Her phone buzzed one last time. The message was a single, chilling word. Goodbye. In that moment, Emma knew she wasn't alone. The darkness seemed to close in around her, and a cold, unyielding terror seized her heart. She felt a presence moving closer, and she realized that whatever had been sending her those messages was no longer just watching her. It was right there with her. And then the darkness consumed her.
Wow. How many times did the lights go off, though? Because she was in the darkness, and then the lights went out.
I feel like it didn't specify if she ever turned them on.
I don't think so.
It kept mentioning
it just kept getting darker.
that she turned the lights off, but it just kept getting darker. Yeah, there's nothing in here that said that she turned the lights on. Like, damn it, ChatGPT. What the hell?
I mean, I imagined that her bed was up against a window, and so that's why she turned around in her bed. And that was kind of an eerie feeling, as it was. But also, she was on the second story, and this dark shadow was outside her sheer curtains. It had some chilling elements, but it definitely had holes that helped.
Yeah, the story. I was like, what is going on here? What? Okay, she turned the lights off, and then the lights are still on, and then he's somehow up on the second floor. He's not tall, but also like, okay, in real life, I feel like after getting a message that said the first one, well, the
The
first one's not
last
too bad.
message, it said the last message. So it's like, okay, well, are you telling me this is the last message, or is this a precursor that I need to pay attention to the last message? And then your last one is goodbye.
I'd be so mad. Like, dude, you told me your first one said last message. Like, what the hell? There's four more.
Yeah. And she just lets her phone buzz? What is this? Do you let your phone buzz? I don't. Mine's on silent all the time. Blissfully unaware. I'd be getting those messages the next day. I'd be like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't open that.
Right? I would have slept through this whole ordeal. Do you remember back in the day when cell phones like first became a thing, like widely used, when everyone had like a ringtone? Like my ringtone was Michael from The Office saying that's what she said. Like that was my ringtone for the longest time. And then
I love
now it's like socially unacceptable to have ringtones. Like if you hear right here we're not in the world, I'm like, silence your phone, bro. Like I don't want to hear this like ringtone.
Mine was John Mayer, Stop This Train. But I love yours was Michael from The Office. Um, I actually all of my best friends are in my phone as different pictures of Michael, and then I have them on Find My Friends, so like Michael's all over the state. It's hilarious. I love it. It makes me laugh every time.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I cannot. I wow, you were really ahead of the game there.
It I mean, it was I loved it, but it was kind of embarrassing. You'd be on like the metro, like the subway, and like it's all quiet, and you hear, "That's what she said." And everyone
I
looks
love
over
it.
at you and like,
I did some bartending for a long time, and one of my friends, he had me as I hit a lot of things with my car, and so every time I would send him a text message, you'd hear, and it was the longest noise ever, and I loved it because then he'd say something dumb, and I'd go in the back and I'd text him real quick so that this thing would go off, and it was just like the longest. Like, I made my announcement that I was there.
okay, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, I wish it was still like that. But yeah, you're right. It is socially unacceptable to have these noises. Like silence your phone. If you want a buzz, like wear a watch that buzzes when you get your text message. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't even know how to turn the sleep thing on. It controls my life. It silences my messages at a certain time and it lets me get them again at another time, and I have no control. I have no idea where that setting is. And I refuse to learn. It made my life better.
You know, honestly, like if I don't have I have the ability to do like that whole like snooze like for nighttime, but I haven't turned it on ever because I'm a heavy sleeper, so I won't wake up for anything. Someone can call me, and it'll buzz and buzz and buzz, but I will not wake up at all.
Yeah, I think it's the anxiety or the ADHD. Like sometimes I think I can hear electricity. I had something plugged in the other day and I had to unplug it because it was making like a soft frequency that I could hear. So yeah, I always just felt like maybe I was kind of psychic, but I think that it had something to do with that. Yeah, so this whole living in silence, and then like I can even open my phone and be on it and I won't know that I get a text message until the next day. I kind of love it. I'm much more chill because of it. And this would never happen to me. So sorry, Emma.
No,
But
well, I mean, you probably just, I'm guessing either the ghost or whatever would get upset with you and then you would die, or you would just be fine. They'd be like, God damn it, Stephanie. I've been fucking texting you and emailing you. My phone doesn't even have notifications for emails. Like, I would not even get the email to begin with, but like, God damn it, Stephanie. I've been texting you all night. You're not goddamn answering.
yeah, I'd be like, you know what? The darkness should have consumed me faster. Not that
um,
we started this night with we had rain there, but before that there was lightning and thunder. So I'm not trying to. It's calm right
My I just remember my dad's ringtone. My mom. I don't know where this was from, but it was a random guy saying, "Oh no, it's your wife calling. What does she want?" It's like a terrorized voice, and like it's the typical like boomer humor, like, "Oh, I hate my wife. My wife
Yeah.
hates me."
I hear that's an American thing too, like a boomer American thing. I don't understand it, but that is hilarious. Hilarious. My mom refused to
He'll,
get a cell phone until maybe like 8 years ago. Aw man, did you see that lightning? It's a
I
major
didn't.
lightning. Like I brought
It might have
it
caught it.
on. It's like right there. It took over half the sky. But maybe we'll hear thunder if it's gonna come on again. Oh, here it is.
I hear the thunder. I got that at least.
I pissed.
You pissed off the gods. Okay, so
I
I have
told him.
two potential. We'll do one more story so you can get out of the rain. Two potential stories. I'm gonna give you the choice which one you want to hear. The first one is called The Inheritance. It seems like it's about a guy or a woman named Eleanor who inherits a mansion. The other one is called The Auction, which is about someone named Tom buying something from the dark web.
This is a hard choice. I'm really into money. And the inheritance sounds really, really exciting. But also the auction in the dark web sounds like it'd be hopefully a haunted object. And that's pretty interesting too. Let's do the auction, because especially me thinking I'm not going on the dark web to get you a haunted object, but the thinking about getting you a haunted object, I'm gonna like, okay, got a no strings attached. What kind of things do I need to be wary of? Yeah, just go with the auction.
Okay, here we go. The Auction, brought to you by ChatGPT. Tom was a software developer with a knack for exploring obscure corners of the internet. He had always been fascinated by the dark web, not for its criminal enterprises or illicit content, but just for its sheer mystery and the challenge it posed. One evening, while deep in his explorations, he stumbled across an invitation to a private auction. The invitation promised access to items beyond your imagination, which sounds bad to start with. Curiosity got the better of him. He used all the necessary precautions: VPN, Tor browser, encrypted communications to access the auction site. The site was very minimalistic, with a dark theme and an array of cryptic symbols. A single item was up for auction: a small, ornate box with no description other than the curiosity. The auction had no standard bidding mechanism. Instead, participants were required to submit their bids via a series of coded messages and cryptic phrases. Tom, intrigued and somewhat skeptical, decided to participate, thinking it would be a harmless exploration. Okay, side note here, like, I don't, what like, how do you, if you're bidding with an array of cryptic symbols, like, of my luck, I like bid like 50 grand. The starting bid.
Yeah, I'm like cryptic messages. What kind of messages would somebody choose? Like, okay, I want you to only quote the office. Like, good luck.
We're not gonna tell you what each one's worth. Okay. To his surprise, he won the auction. Instructions arrived for him to meet an anonymous courier at a location on the outskirts of town to collect his item. The meeting was pretty straightforward: an envelope with no return address and a single key inside. The envelope also contained a note that said, "The box is yours. The contents are not for the faint of heart." Tom drove to his apartment, his mind racing with curiosity. The box, when he finally saw it, was a small, intricately intricately carved wooden box with an antique lock. It was beautiful, yet unnervingly enigmatic. He decided to wait until morning to open it, feeling the weight of anticipation and dread. The next day, Tom set the box on his kitchen table. As he inserted the key and turned it, the lock clicked open with a sound that seemed too loud for such a small mechanism. He lifted the lid slowly, revealing the contents: an old, leather bound book and a peculiar silver pendant. The book was filled with handwritten notes, sketches, and cryptic symbols. This is how much you paid for it, Tom. It's plot twist. It's the symbols that how much your bids are.
I wish
As
we
Tom
knew how much
flipped,
this cost.
right? God damn it, ChatGPT. As Tom flipped through the pages, he noticed that many of the sketches depicted disturbing images, faces twisted in anguish, scenes of dark rituals, and symbols that seemed to writhe and shift when he wasn't looking directly at them. The notes described occult practices and the summoning of entities from beyond the known world. The silver pendant was an intricately designed piece of jewelry with a symbol that matched one of the drawings in the book. Tom felt a shiver run down his spine as he realized the pendant seemed to pulse with a faint, almost imperceptible light. The combination of the book's content and the pendant made him uneasy, but his curiosity pushed him to continue examining them. That night, Tom placed the book and pendant in a drawer, deciding to research their meanings and origins. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him. The apartment, usually so similar and safe, felt foreign and menacing. Shadows seemed to move on their own, and he heard faint whispers, like the whisper, like the rustling of pages or distant conversations. Unable to sleep, Tom decided to stay up and research the symbols and rituals described in the book. The deeper he delved, the more he found accounts of forbidden knowledge, summoning rites, and dire warnings about the consequences of tampering with forces beyond human comprehension. Hours passed, and Tom grew increasingly paranoid. He kept glancing over his shoulder, feeling as though he was not alone. He even began to notice small, unexplained disturbances, objects slightly out of place, whispers growing louder, and a constant feeling of being watched. By dawn, Tom was exhausted and terrified. He decided to get rid of the box, the book, and the pendant. He wrapped them carefully and drove them to a remote location where he buried them in a makeshift grave, hoping to sever any connection to whatever forces might be associated with them. So he went with the Kevin, whoever he sold that box to. That guy's method of abandoning a haunted box. Just gonna bury it.
Yeah, I like how they just think that like going out somewhere and burying it is enough. Like, didn't try blessing it. Didn't. No, I'm just gonna go bury it. Even though in my mind, this I'm picturing the book from Hocus Pocus because it's got the big eye too. So like, uh, it's just gonna come floating back to him.
See, I would just burn it. Burn it. I guess burn it and the ash just rebuild.
I don't know. Like, I feel like people with Ouija boards have tried that, and then it just like nothing happens to it, or it somehow shows back up.
Returning to his apartment, Tom found the oppressive feeling had lifted, but the unsettling events continued. Strange occurrences persisted. Lights flickering, eerie noises, and occasional fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures. It was as though the dark web auction had awakened something that couldn't easily be put back to rest. Though Tom tried to return to his normal life, the experience left him with a lingering sense of dread. He became wary of the unknown and resolved never to explore the dark web again. The box and its contents were gone, but the unsettling feeling that something had been unleashed into his life stayed with him, a constant reminder of the dangers lurking in the hidden corners of the internet.
I like
The
how
end.
he blames the dark web for a lot and not the opening of the book. Like, he takes no personal accountability here. Like, oh, it wasn't me opening the book or having this weird stuff around my apartment, and the fact that I thought the drawer will contain it. I can make fun of him as much as I want to. AI wrote this. It's not a real person. But yeah, that was actually, I thought it was a pretty good story though. It felt very like the Dybbuk box, where yeah, I blame Tom in the opening of this creepy book and all the stuff in it. Like, you unleash something, not the dark web. Like, granted, I don't think you need to go on the dark web for something like this. It sounds like something that you could probably find off eBay. I'm gonna look. I'm definitely not going to the dark web for that though. I would do my neighborhood find nothing, but I don't want to touch it. Ship it to your PO box.
At some point, when he it started talking about his apartment, I started laughing because I was like, oh god, here we go. It's ChatGPT is gonna revert back to the old, like the first story we read, and it's gonna be the same thing where he gets a text message or an email. I was like, oh no, ChatGPT is like not learning. It's repeating the same story.
Yeah, that hilarious. I thought it was pretty good though. I think it was a good story with all of like the distorted faces and whatnot. Yeah, I wouldn't want that creepy book either. I don't think that's something that needed to be sold on the dark web though. I'm sure that it could get the marketing in that. This is a haunted AF book. Like, come check it out. Zach Baggins probably paid good money for that.
Poor Tom though, like I kind of feel bad for this Tom. He doesn't know. I mean, maybe he does, but like, there's no description of how much it costs. It's like, did he bid like his entire life savings and got a book about, he had bought at a thrift store, or did he spend $10 on it?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that there's some holes in this story that I would really like covered up, because I bet you I could probably get something scary from my daughter and then send that your way and be like, okay, I found something truly creepy. Check this out. Like, there's this one coloring book thing that they give the kids, like, just outlines of animals, and they put the eyes on and like the nose and the mouth, and the things that my daughter came up with for this, so scary. Terrifying. I don't know what's going on in her head, but yeah, if I sent that to you, you'd be like, where did you get this? Definitely haunted. Distorted faces.
Kids are creepy. Like, my nephew, at one point a few years ago, when he first started talking, we were staying with them, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to see the old man in my closet?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, what? Excuse me?"
Yeah, excuse. Can you elaborate before I answer to that? Will it make him angry if I say no?
If I say no, if I name him the wrong name. Also, so when I asked ChatGPT, so I gave them like 3 prompts, and this one obviously was a deep web prompt. But the first time it generated a story, it was like a really long story, and I got halfway through copying it, and the software, the website, immediately deleted it and said it was a violation of its terms of service. Like, whatever the content was, it was something that ChatGPT was not supposed to have generated, but it did, and it was available to me for like 30 seconds before it got deleted.
Wow, you didn't click the little clipboard that just copies the whole thing?
Okay, don't laugh. I honestly did not know that existed till right now, till right this moment
Yeah.
where you said that.
Check that out. Check it out. It's a nice, easy. It copies the whole thing. You can quickly take whatever ChatGPT threw out there and at least copy it to your notepad or WordPad or whatever. And then what did they have to say? I want to know. Normally, if I saw something like that and it's like this really long story, I'm like, okay, but make it shorter. Make it read this many minutes. And I love it. I love that you can give it feedback and it's like, yes, master.
It's getting so advanced now too, but it is crazy.
Still
Also, Also, this is episode 10. Do you realize that? We are in double digits now. Episode 10.
I can't believe it. It feels like it just started.
Also, you know what's funny? Unrelated note, not a spooky note, but so I am I'm very bad at this. I will argue with Trumpers on TikTok so much. And I got us a 1-star review by accident because the guy went to my profile and he was like, "Well, fuck your podcast," and wrote us a 1-star. I was like, "God damn it!"
You know
So we
what?
dropped.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, we'll proudly take that 1 star.
Yeah, we'll probably. So we dropped down and then dropped back up to like we're at 4.5 out of 5. So, audience, hop onto Spotify, give us 5 stars to like counteract this one D-bag that I was arguing with, and I have since decided to not argue with at least I created a spam account to argue with them, not tied to my.
Yeah, that is nice. But I think we'll proudly take that 1-star review. We're okay with that. They're just hating on us because you're arguing with them about political stuff. That's great. We'll take it. We'll wear that proudly. I would like to get a hat instead of my Monday declaration. I have a 1-star review on Spotify. Thank you.
I wish it had like the chance to like write like an actual like review, so I could like print it out, like get it printed on a shirt and be like, "This is what they say about our podcast." Fuck you! It fucking sucks, you dumb motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Cricut. I can make it.
Yeah.
I'll send it to the PO box. Now you really have to get one so that I can send the haunted stuff and this shirt.
So thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate you. Yeah, hop on to Spotify, give us a 5-star review. I am working on getting, I think I've uploaded like 4 or 5 episodes onto YouTube, so they're now available for viewing. So go on there as well, but I'll be getting everything else updated slowly but surely. We appreciate you guys, and yeah, so if you want to send me some spooky shit, email betweenstatelinespodcast@gmail.com, and we'll work on a PO box so you can mail it to me.
Oh, and don't forget to vote for a name for the skeleton.
Yes, we need suggestions for the skeleton. I think the lead right now I think it was Teresa.
Really?
Or was it Clayton? I think it might have been Clayton.
I mean, really, you're choosing. Is this a male? Is this a female skeleton back here?
We have 2 for Clayton. So 2 for Clayton and whatever else we get in. So
yeah, I felt like my sister gave me a good one, but I can't remember. I told her that she should message me it because I'm never gonna remember. And lo and behold, it's gone. It's gone.
You know, now we can insert Kevin into the mix because Kevin is now in Between State Lines lore as being an a-hole.
Yeah,
and
Kevin's a D-bag.
Here you go, Mom. Have a stroke.
Seriously. Oh wait, never mind. I'll take it back. Hopefully that was good enough.
Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.